Well, hi, and thanks for joining me in my shop this morning. So I'm going to play this radio and then I'm going to explain what I think is wrong about it. Let's turn it on here. To see what's wrong, we're going to need a little less light in here. So I finished this. If you watched my last video, you know I finished this. I haven't done anything with it. It's just sitting here. I turned it on this morning, but in the meantime, I did prepare the video for posting, which you've probably watched, and that caused me to look at this radio a little more and think a little more about it. And I'm sure something's not right. Now, the reason I'm going to dwell on this is that at a glance, it looks really good. All lit up like that. But if you look more closely, this isn't really the best. You can see on the outer edges here that it's a little extra bright. You can see the light shining on the back panel right in here. There's a lot of light coming in from the edges. And if you tip the radio and look this way, oh my gosh, what's happening? There's a nuclear reaction going on in there. You can look right at the light bulb from this angle. You can see the bulb. Now, you can't see it in the camera, but I can certainly see it with my eye. That's really not any good. I can look right in. I can see some of the parts in there. This way too. Another thing that I noticed, can you see the parallax error as I swing the radio? You can see the pointer appears to be moving back and forth. The pointer is so far back from the dial. It doesn't seem right. And another thing is the knobs, which we can't see in the dark here, or the knob shafts rather, they just don't seem to be protruding enough to me. That looks just a little short. Look at all these things telling me this is not in all the way. Now when I put it in yesterday, I thought to test it, I'll see if I can put a bolt in underneath. You know, if the chassis bolt hole is lining up with the cabinet bolt hole, that's a good sign that you've got it in the right place. And to my surprise, the bolt went in. But I'm willing to bet there's a shaft under there. Not a shaft, a slot for the bolt shaft to move in. I didn't look. When I was putting in the chassis, when I was pushing it in from behind, originally I had these paper light blocking pieces, two pieces of cardboard if you like. I had them in a certain way that I theorized was the right way. And then I put the chassis in, I couldn't put it far enough forward. And I reasoned that these pieces of paper were striking the front of the radio and stopping the cabinet from going in all the way. Excuse me. But I also noticed, yeah, I thought we should hear it. I also noticed that when I put the radio in, there was a very firm stop. Boom, boom. It didn't quite feel like a piece of paper crashing into something. So that led me to conclude that those pieces of paper were rigid enough to give this experience of the colliding of the paper with something in the front of the radio, which I didn't like, and shoving it harder would simply crumple that paper. I didn't want to do that. Paper must be in the wrong place. So contrary to my theory about where the paper should be and what it's doing, I flipped it onto the outside. I flipped it around to a different position. And I think the result of that is I don't have light blocks blocking the light from coming in behind the glass. The light is not supposed to be in behind the glass. The light is supposed to be transmitted through the glass. And along the way, it will light up all these words, if this is working right. And there should be little or no light being cast in behind. There's going to be sun to see the pointer. So we're going to look really closely up in here with a camera and see if we can't see what is actually happening up in there. This is really important. You know, you could stop at this point and the radio looks okay, and most people would look at it and go, that's great. But it really isn't. It really isn't great. And I'd like this radio to be great. So let's take a look inside it. Now, I'm not sure how this is going to go with the light on, shining a camera. We're aiming a camera right in there, but let's see, yeah, too much light from the light bulb. So let me get rid of that. Now there's no light, so I'll bring in a shock light here. See if we can shine it in there. I don't know how this is going to work. Let's see. Okay, so you can see the bulb there, and the focus is, it's on, my camera's on autofocus, so it's going to do some weird things. I can't see too much from here, other than you can see the light bulb directly, which surely is not the way it's supposed to be. Let's look in from behind. Got this turned off, but there's a couple of hot tubes in here now. Can't see much from this angle. Okay, now if you look, this is a little hard to see. You can see the light bulb and you can see the glass. And can you tell the glass of the light bulb is rammed up against a piece of wood? It's a light colored. It's actually the cardboard, actually, come to think of it. But behind it, right behind the cardboard, is a piece of wood. And you see there, that's pretty clear. I don't think the light bulb's in the right position. Let's look at the other one here. This one, I think it's a little easier to see what's going on. Again, the light bulb is banging into a piece of wood there. Just to the right of it, let me see if I get a little more light in there. There's actually a slot or a space for the bulb to go deeper, for the whole chassis to go forward more. Remember, I tried to slide these light bulbs on the bracket and I couldn't get them to move. Had they been loose, you see the light bulb socket is just a slide-on sort of bracket deal there. If these had been loose in those brackets, when I jammed the radio forward, these bulbs would have been pushed back. And I could have got the radio all the way in. It'd be even a worse situation from what it should be. So here's what I got to do. I got to take out, this is what I believe I have to do, take out the chassis, flip around those pieces of cardboard back to the other side where they were. Push these lights in. They're bent out. They've been bent out. And they're striking and running into this piece of wood. And when I was shoving the chassis in, this was what was knocking up against a block. These light bulbs. The two light bulbs. That's what I was feeling. I didn't realize what it was. So I bend these guys in tight. And they should fit into the slot. They should put the whole chassis forward. And see, it's not even up tight up here, is it? Yeah, see, there's a big gap. Like, you can feel it with my finger. So I think that's going to solve it. So it all starts with these lights being in the wrong position. Now, how did they get bent out like that? Somebody ramming in this cabinet, ramming it in there. And you know, they may have even, well, I was going to say, they may have even slid back on those sliding grips, but the grips look like they're all the way forward. Okay, that's the scenario in here. And while we're looking, this is the challenge of getting this radio in. The antenna here has to slide up behind this block. And sometimes I try to put it in, and the antenna is just banging on this block, and it's not visible when you're standing looking at the radio. It's you know, you're looking down like this. You don't see the block. You don't see what it is. That's what it is. There's something on the other side like that. Well, this is the slot for holding that capacitance antenna. So that's why the block is in there. There we go. All lessons learned. Let's pull it out. Let's pull it out. So I got the one bolt in there. Let's take a look and see what kind of arrangements underneath here. Hopefully the radio won't fall out. Well, it's not a slot, it's just a very large hole here. That's the bolt that's in. So I think that gives enough play for the radio to move forward up to its proper position. That's what I think. Boy, it doesn't seem like there's enough play under there for all this to work. Let's find out. So the radio should come pretty well straight back, and at the last minute tip to miss this. I believe that's how we got to do this. Let me just pull this out here, just to be sure. Okay. Yeah, straight back. No strain. Now we do the tipping thing here. There we go. I just put a big tool on that. I can just squeeze this up. Who needs a big tool? Do it with my hand. Yeah, it didn't take much. Same thing with this one. There. I think that's going to do it. Find out when we put it in. That's one thing. Next thing is doing those little pieces of cardboard. You know, the little cardboard light blockers in here, and I've seen these on quite a few radios. You know, in my head, I'm not thinking about this right now. Again, they're just little pieces of paper, almost as if, you know, the guys found them on the floor in the factory and stuck them in the radio. No, of course not. They're carefully engineered, carefully selected, carefully dimensioned to do a very particular job. It's not just a last minute. You know, I gotta set this down because the glass can fall out while I'm doing this. Now the glass is probably stuck in there pretty good, even if the brackets come off. But how do I know? How would I know? I would know when I hear the sound of breaking glass. I don't want that to happen. This is a little better. Even this big screwdriver is a little scary if I drop it. There is a place for this to go. Let's just take a look before I stick it in there. Let's look at the radio here. So I think this should be like this. The light can get from the light bulb forward here, and what's here is the pane of glass, the glass pane. So this comes down too far, it starts knocking into the string, into the pulley. But all it's got to do is just make it past this edge. Once it's past that edge, there's no direct way for light to get in there. So if I leave it open a little bit, there'd be a gap. Just has to make it past the edge. Nothing more than that. That's what I'm thinking. It's just a little crowded in here. I didn't show this, but I think there's also, excuse me, I don't know if you can see it in the camera. Dang it, it's not really obvious. There's a block right here, standing out, and I think this is the, excuse me, I think this is the ram-up block. So you bring the radio in and it rams up against this. This is the stopper here, I think. I don't know. There's a hole. There's a hole for a screw over there. You would think they'd make the radio so when you put the chassis in, it goes where it's supposed to go because of the way things are designed. So again, assuming this piece of paper has been very carefully sized. Oh, look at it's not the same dimension across the fold. I gotta imagine the longer side should be sticking out. It's gotta be that way. I mean, you know, it'll all show once the radio's back in, but putting in the radio is a bit of a hassle. And really in and out, it's not. In a lot of radios, this paper has been burned by the light bulb. The light bulb is pushed right up against this paper, and over a long period of time it cooks the paper, carbonizes it, and then a hole develops right where the bulb is, right where you don't want a hole, and the light sneaks through. So you don't want any sneaking through light lighting this panel. Since, you know, today for a radio like this, a lot of what it is what it looks like. It's you know, no one's checking the news on it every day with a radio like this, but somebody comes over, you own this radio, your neighbor comes over and says, "Oh, that's really neat. Wow, that'd be great if that worked." And then you say very proudly, "Oh, it does work. Watch." And then you turn it on, and the first thing that is going to cause a reaction is what it looks like with the light on. So if I boob this up and don't maximize that, I'm really doing kind of like a disservice here. You know, make the radio all that it can be. Be all you can be. So I think now when I slide the chassis back in, I'm going to have to watch how this paper is going, and as you push the panel forward, if the paper's too far this way, it's going to hit the panel and then fold further the wrong way, and not going to do its job. And if it's too far this way, the light bulb itself will hit it and push it, and that won't work. It's got to be kind of in the right spot. We'll have to watch for that. I think that's the only way to do it. Now, let me just double check, just to make sure I've got these. I may never tighten these again. I'll make sure they're done right. So like when you change the tires on your car, maybe from summer to winter, after you're all done, and you think everything's perfect, it's time to take the wrench out and check all the bolts again. At least when I do it, it is. Okay. Now, let's just see how this is going to go. It's all about those paper. You can hardly see them. Okay. Am I forgetting anything else? The pointer needs to be straightened. Right. The pointer needs to be straightened. Now I need a perfect right angle here. Let me run and get a tool. Okay. It's not much, is it, in terms of being out? Huh. Wow, it looked a lot worse when it was in the radio. Again, you know, it doesn't take much. slightly. How about that? Did I just do anything? Yeah, looks. How's it look just to the eye? Just looking at it. It looks perfectly straight. Maybe ever so slightly off to the. Now the other thing is the pointer was dragging down at the bottom here. It was dragging along the plate. We don't want that. It's not dragging now. So somewhere along the line, yeah, I removed it a couple times off the top here. Maybe I bent it up just a touch. You don't want it dragging on the plate, but you also don't want it dragging on the back of the glass, which is even worse. Let me jack it up here a little bit. It's going to drag anywhere. The plate is better. Okay, so I think we're ready to stick it in. I got to get these bulbs to slide into these, right into here. Oh, there was something stopping it. Huh. Now that I look at it, it doesn't look quite what well, blah, blah, blah. Never mind. Okay, let's see if I learn my lesson on how to put this radio in and out. Okay, first of all, we get past the little nubbin. Pull it out. There it goes. Okay, finally mastered that. Okay, I can already feel some kind of restriction. Look at the challenge here. You can't see a thing. Cannot see the paper. It's gone behind the panel. I know it's there though. So I'm going to assume it's folded out incorrectly and it's knocking into the panel. Where'd that tool go? It is actually hung up on the panel. It's actually folding inwards instead of folding back. It's exactly why I made this video, to show this part. At least for me, there's nothing easy about getting this right. I can see the edge of the paper right there. I may have succeeded over here. So the light bulb's not at the end of its travel yet. So it's set. What? Okay, so it's set back. It's set in a little bit further this time. It's straight across the back. What happened to the paper on the other side there? It's not in the right spot either. Pull the radio back. I need a tool with a long piece here. Push the whole paper. What have I got that's like that? Okay, I gotta go hunting for some oddly bent piece of metal here to use as a tool. Okay, we're going to take an attempt here with just some copper. This house wiring. It's not very, it's not very strong, but let's see what we can do. And I realized I can actually watch what I'm doing through the front window here. There, no question of what's going on now. You can see it quite clearly. So now I don't want to scratch the black paint in here. Ugh. I think I got to pull this back just a bit too. There. So once you get that radio forward far enough, there's no pushing that paper back out of the way. Still jammed. Yeah, you know what? This just doesn't have the strength to do it either. This copper's no good. I need a real tool of some sort. Okay, off I go hunting again. First attempt. Okay, let's give this a go. I think this is a tent spike or some kind of spike. But it's got the right shape. Maybe not the right length here. Oh, I don't think it's anywhere near long enough. Let's see. Get it in there. Oh, I don't know, boy. Certainly strong enough. I think the cardboard's catching right down the bottom edge. You need a long tool to get down there, or the radio's not out far enough yet. Oh, there we go. Okay, now it's swinging free. So I swing it back, and then I have to push the radio forward. Oh my gosh. I haven't got enough hands here. Let's see. Okay, so you're going to look from the back. Can't push it. What's happened? If you push the paper just a little bit too far, it gets hung up on other things. So I can now see the edge of the paper all the way. It's hung up on the light here. There. You got a little snap? That was it. That was it snapping right into place. I push this forward. It doesn't go forward any further. Maybe that's it? I don't think that's it. No, the problem now is the light. Okay, so, wow. Let me show you what's happening now. Come on, camera, focus, would you? There. So well, it's hard to see, sorry about the focus again, but the light bulb is now heading for the right slot, but the paper is in the way. That's pretty stiff paper. I think if I, there is nothing else in that slot. There's no reason. So I think I was wrong about the light being bent incorrectly and striking a block of wood. There's no block there. Maybe it's on the other side of it then. What's going on over here? No, I think this is the same thing. It's just I was mistaken. I thought there was like a slot for the, four-sided slot. It's a three-sided slot. Okay, that's good. that means I can bend this light out to miss the cardboard instead of pushing it through the cardboard, which I don't want to do. So when I bent them in, I made a mistake. I'm going to bend them back out. So I got the bolts in, and one of them I realized had really gone right up, right through the wooden cabinet, right up tight to the chassis, because the washer's missing. So I realized, I remember now, oh yeah, that's right, when I took the bolt out, I thought to myself, this was way in, ridiculously in, and not actually grabbing the cabinet. So I've had to take the bolts out now and ensure that the washer, if there is one, is big enough. Okay, so that's what's happening. Wow, just screws, pointers. Right. Okay, so how'd these come out? They look dead center to me. Put the 3 knobs. So this one has a pointer on it. This one has a pointer. Oh, that's not a pointer. That's dirt. So that's the guy with the pointer. The pointer would go on the band switch. Let's see how right that is. Okay. Good. Yep. These other two have no pointers. One is the tuning thing. Of course, there's no pointer on the... There we go. Good. And then this volume. There we are. Oh, one more thing. You have to experiment a little bit with... There's always one more thing, isn't there? You have to experiment with that capacitive antenna. Where is it? Incidentally, here's one I took out of another radio that was scrapped. Here's another one. Looks pretty identical to the one I'm looking for, which I obviously have put in a very careful place because I can't find it. Okay, where is it? So here's the capacity antenna here. I'm going to put it in, and I have been trying to do research on this. I really haven't found any great information about it. In the manual, I'm going to read to you what it actually refers to it in the manual in one short phrase, which I'm going to read to you. Okay, we'll lock that in. And this comes down, hooks up to the antenna connection here. Capacity antenna. Here's what it says about it in the manual. I'm just going to read it here. It's very short. This is under General Description. Features of design include built-in loop antenna for broadcast band reception, removable capacity type short-wave antenna. So there we are. Capacity type short-wave antenna. Oh, here's a little more about it. Capacity type short-wave antenna. That's the title. To obtain best results, this antenna should be removed from the cabinet, the wire unwound and dropped to the floor, and the form replaced in its receptacle. Are you kidding me? Come off it. Okay, so capacity type, what? It's a bunch of wire. Okay, sorry about reading that and not letting you have the joy and experience of reading it yourself. Okay, so capacity antenna. Basically, really crappy shortwave antenna. So crappy you should unwind it. Unbelievable. I guess it's a way of keeping a bunch of wire with the radio. Wrap it up on the form, shove it in the back, take the radio somewhere, I don't know where. Set the radio down, pull it out, unwrap the wire. Not a stupid idea. Okay, so I'm going to close the link here too. So this way, the reason they do this for sure is they want to sell this radio and claim it doesn't need an external antenna. That's a big selling point. As whether it's true or not, I don't know. But that's why they've got this antenna for sure. So they can make the claim when they sell it that it has a built-in shortwave antenna. What, that little hunk of wire? Oh, it's a capacity antenna. Something nobody knows what it means. So I'm telling you that. I know you don't know what it means. Now buy this radio because it has a capacity antenna. I don't know. I just like to make up those kinds of stories. Okay, I think we're ready for a quick test here. We're going to do a bigger test this evening when shortwave radio is coming. So first we're going to do the AM radio. Capacity antenna connected, link closed, plug in, power on, camera down to earth. Switch on. There we go. You can't see much effect from the light bulbs under this, daytime lighting. A little bit, but not too much. And that's just fine. A little volume. Oh, here it is. AM band. Here we go. Now, move the radio over here because it's got to be kind of turned on this angle. Come on, baby. All these totally familiar noises I hear. Look at that straight pointer. It's around 780 or so. I don't know what that is. 680 should show up. Come on. So that's showing up about 695. I think that's 680. Let's go. Don't listen to this radio in my shop, that's for sure. So I think that's 610 on the dial. 610. No, maybe that might have been 590. Oh, what am I saying? I'm totally out. I'm not even reading the dial on it. Okay, correct it. Just, yeah. I got to the point of babbling. So there we are. That's 590 at about 605. Slightly off. And then 640. Good enough because it's AM radio in my shop. Using the loop antenna is not working well. We'll go up to the top shortwave band. 15 megacycles. Now. So, only antenna on here is the capacity antenna. I'm just going to zoom because I just can't imagine it's going to pick anything up. Next band. You might get something. I think there's a station there. It's just noise. There we are. try 9 too, 9 megahertz band. Okay, so I'm going to put the outdoor antenna on it. I think there's really no problem with leaving this antenna connected. I mean, how would that cause a problem? So here goes the external antenna. Open link when using external antenna. I wonder if that really means for AM radio. So let's first I got to run and throw a switch here. So entertained. Okay, there's no need to do that. The antenna's already connected. Here we go. Now, antenna on, antenna off. Well, quite a difference there. Volume down. Antenna on. Since I now think the capacity antenna is nothing more than a bunch of wire, I really don't. So we're down here at 9.45. Band spread tuning. Excellent. So that's probably from North America. Something there. Too weak to listen to. Thought I heard a voice. Okay, so 9 megahertz, not too surprising. We're not getting too much at this time of day. Go up in frequency. So a good chance of picking stuff up on this band. Let's see, tone control. Back. Don't know who that was. Same thing, different spot. Probably Cuba. Okay, now 19 meter band or 15 megahertz. This should be where we hear stuff, but it's been kind of dead lately. So 15140, there's usually a station. That's probably it there. You notice I'm a shortwave radio guy because I have one hand on the volume control the whole time I'm tuning. Yeah. That's the way to do it. So we picked up a little bit up there, not too much. Fantastic. Okay, you know what? I'm dying to find out how accurate the dial is on this. So we're gonna go one more step, and then we'll wait for this evening to come. Okay. So we're on a 15 megahertz band. Well, we're just going to check, let's say, one frequency. So we'll go up to right in the middle here, 15250. 15 to 250. Okay, moderate signal. So 15250 is right here. Not gonna get much closer than that, really. That's really close. Excellent. Okay, and we'll try the 25 meter band at let's say 11.8. Should be right there, 11.8. Okay, 11.8. So we're talking about the width of the dial pointer needle and stuff like that. That's excellent. That's really excellent. It's actually a little bit above 11.8 here. The other thing too is this is a band spread radio. So you watch the pointer and watch my hand and listen to it. See, there's quite a range. On a non-band spread radio, you just pop by stations, but not on like this. So this is an easy guy to tune. That's the whole idea. So that's great. The last one is 31 meter band, 9. Where can we go? 9.6. Okay, she's right on 9.6. How good did we do there? 9.6. Nope. Did I, what happened? I didn't change the band switch. Okay, that's better. 9.6, let's try it now. Turn this back down. So again, it's not going to get much more accurate than that. Fantastic. So I managed to set the oscillators correctly. With the set out of the cabinet, I managed to put this glass on correctly. Couldn't really get it wrong. It all worked out. Fantastic. So tonight is the night we will find out. Well, I don't think we're going to find out about this radio. The radio is great. What we're going to find out about is the short wave conditions. That's what's going to limit it. And a little bit on AM radio too. Fantastic. There we are. Here we are. I gotta get ready for the next project now. Great, look at how cockeyed that looks in the camera. Funny, just things camera angles do. Okay, thanks a lot. No, don't thanks a lot. Hang on. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I may post this video separately and then post another one of the radio operating. Maybe that's what I'll do. Okay, that's what I'm gonna do. Thanks a lot for watching, and there'll be one more video on this radio getting a checkout, hopefully this evening.